Imagine standing at a crossroads, not just of your life, but of countless lives. You look down the first path and see the familiar, the choices you've already made, the moments you've lived, the people you've met. But then you notice something strange. There are other paths. Some shine with possibilities you've only dared to dream of. Others seem shadowed, lined with obstacles you never had to face. Now, here's the question. What if all those paths are already real? Not just as daydreams or hypotheticals, but as fully lived realities, each with a you at the center of it. A you who took the job you turned down. A you who moved to the city you left behind. A you who said yes when you said no. This is not just poetic speculation. It's an idea that sits at the intersection of ancient philosophy and cutting-edge science. Philosophers like Leibniz pondered the concept of possible worlds centuries ago, while modern physics explores quantum superposition, where particles exist in multiple states until observed. In other words, reality may be far less fixed than we think. And here's the intriguing part. If other versions of you exist, what if they are not entirely separate? What if they can send messages across the thin fabric of reality? The ancient seeds of the idea. While quantum mechanics is only about a century old, the seeds of parallel realities are ancient. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus famously said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." He meant that reality is in constant motion, forever shifting, never static. If reality is always changing, is it such a leap to imagine that many versions of it could flow side by side? The Hindu concept of loka, multiple realms of existence, also mirrors this idea. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of realities layered upon realities, where souls traverse between states depending on their consciousness. Even Plato's theory of form suggests that the material world is just a shadow of a deeper, more perfect reality, a place where all potential outcomes already exist in perfect clarity. Science joins the conversation. Fast forward to the 20th century, quantum physics upends our sense of reality. The double-slit experiment reveals that particles behave like waves until observed, meaning reality itself may choose its form only when consciousness engages with it. This leads to interpretations like the many worlds theory proposed by Hugh Everett, suggesting that every quantum event spawns multiple timelines. In one, the coin lands heads, in another, tails, and in yet another, it vanishes entirely. If this theory holds true, then each decision you make doesn't close off possibilities. It splits them into separate streams of reality. The invisible thread. But here's where it gets personal. What if these alternate versions of you are not isolated islands, but threads in the same tapestry of consciousness? Buddhist philosophy speaks of Indra's net, a cosmic web where each jewel reflects all others. In this metaphor, each version of you is a jewel, reflecting countless alternate selves. And if reflections exist, then perhaps, just perhaps, they can interact. People report mysterious experiences that hint at this. That uncanny déjà vu, as if reliving a moment you've never had. Synchronicities so precise they feel orchestrated. Dreams vivid enough to feel like memories from another life. From a scientific standpoint, these could be glitches in how our brain processes time and memory. But from a philosophical standpoint, they might be signs of a conversation across realities. Thought experiment. The mirror self. Let's run a thought experiment inspired by Socrates' method of questioning. If there exists a version of you who has already achieved the life you want, what decisions would that version have made differently? How would they think, speak, and act each day? And most importantly, what if you could start aligning with those patterns right now? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If thoughts shape action, and action shapes reality, then perhaps changing your thoughts is the first step to tuning into a parallel self. This is where our journey begins, learning to detect the subtle signs from these alternate selves and applying their wisdom to reshape the reality we experience here and now. Communication between realities might not happen through language as we know it. Instead, it could take the form of patterns, repeated numbers, symbols, emotional surges, or dream imagery. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that cannot be explained by cause and effect, but feel intimately connected to our inner life. For Jung, synchronicities were the bridge between the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious, the shared mental field where perhaps all versions of us intersect. The four major signs. Déjà vu neurologists link it to memory glitches, but what if it's a brief alignment between two realities? A moment where your awareness briefly overlaps with a version of you that's already been here. Persistent symbols. The repeated appearance of a specific word, image, or object could be a breadcrumb from another self, nudging you toward a choice they know matters. Vivid dreams and lucid dreaming. Neuroscientists see dreams as the brain's way of processing data, but shamans and mystics view them as journeys into other realms. Lucid dreaming, in particular, allows conscious exploration, an ideal channel for meeting a parallel self. Sudden intuition or behavior. Changes without warning, you feel compelled to make a choice or adopt a new habit. Could it be that you've downloaded a fragment of another self's life experience? Philosophical foundations. Aristotle spoke of potentiality and actuality, that every being contains multiple possible futures, but only some are made real. Kant argued that reality is filtered through the structure of our mind, suggesting that what we perceive is only one version of what exists. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence imagines living the same life over and over. But what if each recurrence is slightly altered, creating infinite branches of self? Scientific bridges. Quantum entanglement. Two particles influence each other instantly, no matter the distance. If particles can remain connected across space, could consciousness remain connected across realities? Multiverse hypothesis. In cosmology, inflation theory suggests multiple bubble universes may exist. In each, physics itself might differ, yet the seed of you could still appear in some form. Neuroplasticity. The brain physically rewires itself in response to thought and behavior. This means you can literally install the mindset of your desired self. The alignment practice. Vibrational tuning. Here's where philosophy meets application. In Stoicism, the focus is on controlling what is within your power, thoughts, actions, and character. In Buddhism, it's about cultivating mental states like compassion and equanimity. Both traditions, in essence, are about tuning your mind to a higher frequency. From a modern perspective, think of it as aligning your energy with the version of you living the reality you want. Core practices. Gratitude. Journaling. Increases awareness of abundance, raising your emotional frequency. Meditation and visualization. Imagine stepping into the life of your desired self, feeling every sensory detail. Conscious language. Words shape thought. Thought shapes reality. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning to." Embodied action. Adopt the physical habits of your ideal self, posture, diet, exercise, because the body informs the mind. A day in the life of alignment. Morning. Meditate for 10 minutes, visualizing your desired self. Day. Watch for synchronicities. Carry a small notebook to jot them down. Evening. Journal 3 things your desired self would be grateful for. Night. Before sleep, set an intention to meet your parallel self in dreams. Case example. A woman feels stuck in her career. She begins noticing recurring symbols, a lighthouse in books, ads, and dreams. Curious, she meditates on the image. In a lucid dream, she meets a confident version of herself working abroad. Within months, she applies for and lands a role overseas, something she'd never considered before. Coincidence? Perhaps. But through her lens, it was guidance. Awareness of parallel selves changes everything. It reframes failure, not as the end, but as one branch of reality. It reframes success, not as luck, but as alignment. Ethical implications. Socrates might ask, if there are infinite versions of you, does responsibility still matter? The answer, from both Stoic and Buddhist views, is yes, because this version is yours. The fact that others exist doesn't absolve you from shaping this life with integrity. Philosophy as daily practice, Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." In the context of parallel realities, this means becoming the version of you that embodies your highest potential. Not someday, but now. 5 key takeaways for practical application. Notice the signs. Keep a synchronicity log. The more you pay attention, the more patterns you'll see. Ask better questions. Like a philosopher, interrogate your reality. What would my higher self do here? Live as if. Behave now as the person you wish to be. Your actions pull that version into focus. Align your frequency. Through gratitude, compassion, and mindful thought, tune yourself to higher states. Stay open. Not every sign will be clear at first. Patience and awareness sharpen the connection. You are the bridge between infinite possibilities and the life you live today. Every thought is a thread. Every choice is a crossing. And perhaps right now, in some parallel corner of existence, another you is smiling, knowing you've finally heard the call.